Today, brothers and sisters, we hear the insistent assertion by John, he's the Christ, he's the Christ, no one else, not me, he's the Christ. You see, John was the great witness. There are two Johns. There's the John who was John the Baptist. He's the one who was baptizing at the Jordan River before Jesus came. And then there's the other John who wrote the Gospel of John that we just heard. And both of them point to Jesus. He's the one. He's the one. There's nobody else. And in the first letter of St. John, which was the first reading, John is very concerned that people are getting the wrong idea. The wrong idea is that Jesus is not the one. The right idea is that Jesus is the one. He's the Messiah, the long-awaited Messiah. Listen to him. He's the one. If anybody says he's not, he uses the word liar. Anybody denies that Jesus is the one, he's a liar. And then, after testifying so many times, what does he say? He says, remain in him. Remain in him. He says it 3 or 4 times. Remain in him. What does he mean to remain in Christ? It is in our mind and in our heart to remain in Christ. Christ should be the ruler of our minds and our hearts, the ruler of our thoughts, that all of our thoughts might be subject to Christ. As we go about our day, many thoughts will come to our minds. Some of them will be thoughts that lead us to Christ. Some of them will be thoughts that turn us away from Christ. Some of them will be thoughts that are more or less trivial and don't seem to matter much. But we want Christ to rule all our thoughts. And any thoughts that are not in accord with Jesus, are not in harmony with Jesus, we should reject those. And try more and more to bring Jesus into our minds, to think of him, to pray to him. And the ruler of our hearts, that we may let the love of God and the love of Christ come first. God will rule, Christ will rule our minds and our hearts. One thing we should do every day when we begin our day is say, Lord, what do you want me to do? You be the ruler of my life today. I have my own plans. You have your own plans. But first should be, what are Christ's plans for me today? What do you want me to do, Lord? That should be number one in our lives. As St. John reminds us again and again and again, remain in him.